Hello, and welcome back to the weekly Oracle card reading with Kylie Savage Psychic. You're here to receive a very special psychic prescription, much like a weather report, for how to best work with the universal energies that will be present this week. And that's from the 15th of February to the 21st of February 2020. How did you go with last week? I'm trusting if your week was anything like mine or the week before, that you're doing all you can to create a little bit more of a sense of order and peace and balance in your life. And perhaps taking the weekend for a little bit more rest and relaxation. Some meditation definitely be in order for me, and perhaps for you too. So, yes, taking a little bit of extra time over the weekend to just bring back the balance. The universal energies have been fast paced recently and quite chaotic. And perhaps that's, just because whatever we've got going on in our lives at the moment, the whole going back to school, going back to work, all that kind of stuff. And perhaps it is a little bit of the astrology, a little bit of the universal energies, a mix of quite a lot of things. Like when I'm reflecting back on this year, because there was so much going on in December with the bushfires and being evacuated and all that kind of upset, and then Christmas, the holidays, and just one thing kind of after the other. And, really being sensitive to the energy, to what was happening in my community, my country, and all the rest of it. I feel like, and a lot of people have said the same thing, I feel like there wasn't that usual sense of peace around the holidays, of switching off and being more detached from our daily routines and being able to really relax, unwind, and let go. So I've felt like I've had a bit of a rocky start, back to work and into February. And it feels quite frenetic, the energy. It feels like I'm having difficulty getting a hold of my day and my daily routine. And so it's been good in a way because I'm looking at, okay, what can I do to restore a sense of peace and order? And one thing I discovered recently is that people most usually report feeling anxious in the morning. And I've really struggled with creating a morning meditation routine. So, and I find that during the day, it's much easier for me to grab 10 minutes and go and meditate. So I'm looking at, how can I manage my mornings a little bit better? How can I make sure I get enough sleep, enough rest, so I'm waking up feeling restful, and not waking up like as I have been, which is full of anxiety and feeling stressed and then not sure, what to do with my day or how I'm going to get everything done. I'm also investigating alternatives to the to-do list and being addicted to busyness and how to love myself through challenges because I've had lots of good stress with work, challenging myself and trying new things. And I've had some quite negative stress as well. So if you can relate to any of this, I will be posting resources probably most often on my Facebook page, Kylie Savage Psychic. So whenever I go through something and I'm learning about it, I love to share. And because I feel like, there's somebody else out there who probably identifies with this stuff. They can relate to it. And wouldn't it be so nice if I can assist and support them as well? So whatever I'm finding out about how to manage my mornings, my daily routine, bringing back a sense of balance and peace, I will definitely share the resources. If you have some great resources you'd like to share with us, please put them in the comments under this video or visit my Facebook page or send me an email, kyliesavagepsychic@gmail.com. Okay, I've pulled 4 cards for you from the Wisdom of Avalon from Colette Baron Reid. So if you would like to take a moment and just intuitively think of a number between 1 and 4. Okay, so whatever number comes to you first, that's terrific. If you can remember that, as I show the cards, when I get to your number, that card, its message will be a little bit more specific and pertinent to you this week. And I'd love to hear, if you're playing along with us, how you're finding that process. And I usually read 6 cards, and lately I just feel drawn to just pull 5 cards. And I will always pull 4 cards from one deck, and then the other cards are usually from different decks. I love to mix decks. It's a terrific technique, really works for me. If you have any questions or comments about the way that I read, or you'd like some support and assistance to learn how to read oracle cards for yourself, I'd love for you to get in touch. Okay, so we have as our anchor card, the first card, that will be the that will be the Priestess, the High Priestess. This is a beautiful card in this deck. I really, really love it. And we call it the anchor card because, as I've mentioned before, I've learnt the flow system from Colette Baron Reid many years ago, and I've adapted it and created my own extended flow system, which involves mixing decks. So the anchor card, we've dropped anchor in the middle of the ocean, and this is giving us a 360-degree view all around us so that we can see what's happening. But it kind of sets the theme and the tone. And the main theme with the High Priestess is your intuition. So going forward this week, it will be a week to really, really pay attention to your intuition. And to pay attention to your intuition, we need that sense of peace and quiet and stillness. And if we are addicted to busyness, we are rushing around, we're not in our bodies, we're not in the moment, we're not really consciously creating our day or our life because we're in our heads and we're just not really fully connected, mind, body, and spirit, then it can make it super, super difficult to listen to our intuition. Our intuition, the best way to probably understand it is as your mind's voice, or a voice that you hear in your head, and it's your own voice, because that would be really disturbing to hear different voices in your head. So what it is, if you ask a question, like our intuition is local and non-local, but if you ask a question, it helps if you're grounded, if you're breathing, if not, anyway, we're all doing the best we can. If you ask a question such as, what is it that I need to know about this particular situation? The next thought that comes, intuition's very quick. It responds super fast. The next lot of information that you hear in your head, in your own voice, that will be your intuition. There might be another voice, that steps in. Same thing, still in your own voice. I know this is confusing to work out. The next voice will probably be your own ego, and it will be judging or criticizing or excusing whatever the intuition has said. So if you argue with your intuition, it definitely was your intuition. That's one of the key ways you can know if you're having intuitive thoughts. Everybody has intuitive thoughts and feelings and experiences. Everybody does. It's a human ability, intuition. So the High Priestess, when she comes in, she wants us to pay particular attention to things like our intuition, our dreams. I can never say this right. It's our pre-science, precognition. So our psychic abilities, our psychic thoughts, our psychic feelings, our gut instincts, our hunches. She wants us to pay attention to that. And if we have things like psychic vision and we experience a prophecy, a vision of the future. Precognitive thoughts are just thoughts about things that could possibly happen in the future, like they invariably unfold in some way. They actually do happen. We're all psychic. To be psychic, it's not a special gift. To be intuitive, it's not a special gift. These are human abilities, and we have them for very important reasons, which I can go into on some other platform in some other way if you'd like to hear more on these topics, definitely get in touch. Probably these are good topics for my Facebook Lives, which I do on my page, and I'll start doing again soon. So yes, the High Priestess. We need to become more connected and more in tune with our intuition and our psychic abilities, our dreams, synchronicities, listening to the way that life speaks to us. Because we're going to receive some really important messages this week, which are going to fundamentally help us, assist and support us this week with whatever we have going on. If you have been faced with a particularly tricky problem or challenge and you just feel disconnected, like it's been difficult for you to trust your intuition or to hear it or experience it, then this week you're getting extra support to be able to do that. It may be a good week to talk with an intuitive friend, someone who is particularly in tune, who focuses on having these psychic abilities, someone who is a prevalent dreamer and who really remembers and recalls their dreams easily. If you have dreams this week, and we all dream every night as well, then it's really great to write them down. Remember to date the dream. Just nearly knocked all my cards over. Date the dream and give it a name, and then write your dream interpretation. The first sentence, make it, it was as if such and such and so happened. If you write it like a bit of a story, it helps for you to recall it, and it helps for you to write about it. If you would like your dreams intuitively analysed, definitely get in touch with me. That's a service that I offer. Okay, so the High Priestess, she reminds us of this whole other side of life, which fortunately is becoming more mainstream. It's becoming more noticeable. It's easier to talk about these things. That she sort of like lifts more of the layers and the veils that get in the way of us living a very intuitive life. There's just extra emphasis on all the facets of living an intuitive life and what that means. The more spiritual aspects of life, they're also important too. So I love it. You know, things like it's very feminine energy, things like connecting with the moon, connecting with nature, connecting with yourself. I'm really drawn to look at the books in this card. So if you want to do a deep dive into spiritual topics or increase your knowledge in any area, then you can utilize your intuition to lead you to the right sources of information, or people will be drawn to you to be able to give you the pieces of information that you need. Life can work in such a beautiful synchronistic puzzle if you allow it, where whatever you're interested in, you know, life will bring you things. So I just got some answers in a podcast, and then somebody else shared on a Facebook post, you know, something along a similar theme. Then perhaps I might pick up a book and open it and read it, and there's another piece of the puzzle for me, so that you know, life is supporting me with whatever it is I want to learn about, and it's helping and being my teacher. So I really love it. There's a beautiful, gentle energy going into this week, and with this card, a very kind of flowy, easy, little bit wishy-washy, you know, a kind of gauzy feeling and vibe to this card and to the energy going into the week. So I trust that you're going to connect with this. You're going to be a little bit more open to understanding your intuition and working with it. And if you have any questions, you're going to get in touch with me and we're going to talk about it. That would be great. Okay, so the second card, if you pick card number 2, you have the cat. I really do love these cards. It's a fantastic deck because it covers so many facets. Okay, and look at this little cheeky cat. So the cat is about quite a few things. It says on here, independence and healthy boundaries. It also feels like we're connecting with this theme of feminine energy. Pardon me. And with some of the other cards, you're going to see that as well. Oh, sorry. So I feel like as we go into this week, we need to think about relationships, but and working and connecting with the divine feminine, and understanding that we may need an extra level of protection and boundaries around that. There is a real heightened energy around the polarities between male and female at the moment. And I really don't want to get into gender discrimination in any way. Yet some of the messages I've been getting already, and some of the things that are the themes I'm tuning into and the things I'm listening to, are really kind of pulling these threads out and making them clearer for me. This is definitely, another time or another phase or another, not sure how to describe it, another entry point or opening for us to talk about the divine feminine, and for us to look at gender inequality, gender discrimination, for us to look at the polarities, male and female, and everything in between those two polarities. So, things like gender identity, that's still a very relevant theme. I'll just switch over here. A very relevant theme at the moment. And what the cat is going to do is, and probably following on from last week's messages as well, what the cat is going to do is going to assist and support us to get really clear on our boundaries and to be able to talk about these big themes like gender and divine feminine energy and power, and about women standing in their power. Anyone who identifies as female standing in her power. And the cat's just going to help us get very, very clear on what's important to us and what's not. How do we talk about this stuff? And feeling like it's okay, we can stand in our own power and we don't have to please all the people all the time. We can give ourselves the permission and the freedom to explore these topics, to make mistakes, to be okay with that, to pick ourselves back up, pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and keep learning and growing. So, and the cat, I really feel like it's encouraging independent thought and action. So it's okay not to go with the status quo this week. It's okay to do that deep dive into the divine feminine, or explore your own femininity, explore your own gender issues, your own gender identity. And it's okay for you to not know how you feel about these things. It's okay for you to just be in this period of exploration and evolution. Just, being playful like a cat too, and just discovering new things about yourself, the world, other people. And just to feel safe whilst you do that. I feel a real sense of detachment. Now, I'm saying detachment because when I looked at this card, for me, the cat is really about aloofness. And aloofness is like, I want to go to a vibration a little bit higher than aloofness. So I will say loving detachment. It's okay for you to have some loving detachment from people, places, and things, and situations whilst you explore whatever comes up for you this week. So say you wanted to do a deeper dive into exploring your divine feminine aspects, or your intuition, or your psychic abilities. I would just be mindful of, perhaps it's best to keep that exploration to yourself at this moment, or only share it with people who you know are going to be super supportive. I'm getting the feeling like energies could be heightened and we could be feeling super, super sensitive this week. So if you already identify as a highly sensitive person, then definitely, it's okay to have some loving detachment. Just step back from people, places, and things and situations, especially if intuitively you feel like you might come under some sort of attack or threat or criticism. It's okay for you to step back, do what you need to do, look after you, and just hold your ground, hold your space, and let this pass. We don't have to engage in every argument, in every bit of drama, in every thing that we feel passionate about, or everything we're knowledgeable about. We don't have to engage all the time with everyone, and that would be impossible anyway. So I just feel like the cat's asking us to stay in a safe space for us this week if you feel you need to. Okay, the third card, if you chose the third card, and I'm switcherooing again because it's just whatever makes me feel comfortable, is communication. So these are called journey markers in the Wisdom of Avalon deck, and you have, almost like your court cards in this deck, and then you have your animal guides, and then you also have journey markers. So this is opposite the cat, and I'm pretty sure, really am getting tongue-tied today. I'm pretty sure I've already covered communication just talking about the cat card. Yet if you chose this card, I want for you to know that having clear, concise communication this week is uber important. And give yourself a break. Communication is such a big theme. It's something that we're all gaining skills in constantly. It's something also that we don't always think about having clear communication until we get into a conflict with somebody and we need to resolve that, or until we have something we'd like to express and we're not sure how to express it or how it will be received, or we're afraid to express it. So just know if you pick number 3, communication is going to be a super big theme for you this week. So be kind to yourself, do the best you can. I've already found communication is an ongoing theme for me, and it's come up recently again. And I really related to last week's message. I'm so grateful and appreciative for Spirit teaching me through these videos and teaching you guys. And I'm like, if there's only one person benefits from these videos and that's me, then I'm really glad that I take the time and the energy to create them. And sometimes the readings don't make perfect sense to me at the time. I'll go back through and I think, what are you talking about, Kylie? And then the week unfolds and I listen back to the videos. I'm like, wow, oh my God, this makes so much sense now. So if you're having that experience too, please let me know. And I'm really grateful. Okay, communication. I'm just looking at the other cards that are here as well and how this might play into the whole story. Because that's what we're doing, there's a story unfolding here. I feel like it's also about the way we talk to ourselves. So it's definitely about understanding intuition as well, being another form of communication, and that can be a very internal one. Yet intuition is also kind of about the conversation you're having with life, and a higher power if you understand it that way. In communication with cat, I feel like there could be some instances as you go about this week where people may judge you or understand your behavior as being aloof or being detached, or your body language or your actions might be communicating that to them. So if there's anyone in your life who feels like who you sort of feel like that may be the case with them, it's okay to go to them and say, look, if I seem a little bit withdrawn or a little bit more introverted this week, or I'm saying things like I need my space, it's not about you. This is just actually what I need at this time. It won't go on forever. I'll come back and engage again when I'm ready. But just be mindful, some people around us are super sensitive too, and they might take our actions on board and take it personally. So just let them know it's not personal, and we're all just doing the best we can. Communication is such a theme in the wider world at the moment. Like, how do we have good, positive interactions and communications? How do we have open, honest communication, which builds healthy relationships? And the thing is too, just because you know how to talk doesn't mean you know how to listen, doesn't mean you're an effective communicator. There's so many components to having good, open, honest, clear communication. And we know that it changes depending on who our audience is and the format we're using to communicate with. lately it seems like our words can be taken out of context so easily and turned around and used against us. Maybe that's just me being a little bit super sensitive. It's an observation I'm having. The other thing I feel like is the pressure to be able to make sure your words are politically correct. Sometimes I really feel like, talking about last week's video again, there's a gag. There's a gag order. Like, what can you say? How can you say it? And you know what? You're going to be judged either way. So sometimes I also feel like just going, I'm just going to do this, or I'm just going to say this the best that I can. Like, it would be so nice if we could just all cut each other a lot more slack and just all understand that no one is a perfect communicator. Nobody. I don't care how good you think you are, or how good someone is, or how well educated they are, or how knowledgeable. I don't care. Nobody is a perfect communicator. Everything can be taken out of context. So definitely be mindful. Think about your audience. Think about what you want to say, how you want to say it, where you want to say it. Yet, isn't the important thing to keep communicating? Okay. Without being harmful to people. Let me just preface that. See, it's like sometimes I think I need to talk around what I'm saying to make sure that it can't be taken out of context, but that gets into being a control issue. Okay, so if you pick card number 4, it's the Queen. I love this. You said so many, such a beautiful feminine feeling to this whole reading and to the week we're going into. If you are planning on falling pregnant, having another baby, expanding your family in any way, then when this card comes up, I always need to preface it with, this week is a very fertile week for many things, ideas, business growth, relationships, whatever. It's also a very fertile week for conceiving a actual physical baby. Oh my God, I'm going to have fun listening back to this video. Okay, so definitely, if you are trying to have a baby, don't know how to say this in all the different ways, if you're doing IVF, whatever, then this week, not to get your false hopes up or anything, but this week, it's probably a pretty good week for it. Yet the main message I really love about this card is, and this is the 4th card, so her message works into all the other cards. It's like giving more details for the story for each card. Her message is, stand in your own power. So if you're female or identify as female, this is a real, I call it the Go Girl card, that this is a real card about female empowerment. It's also for masculine energies, anyone who identifies as male, for connecting in with the divine feminine and the divine feminine power. So the feminine aspect to your being. We all have the female and masculine parts within us. So the Queen, I just love it. And be prepared, out in the wider world to see the topic of female empowerment, of equality, of feminism, how feminism is evolving and growing and changing. Be prepared to see that as more of a topic in the wider world. And take this opportunity, especially if you're caring for young children in any way, or even within your own relationships, to bring the topic up and discuss it. How do people feel about the divine feminine? How do they understand feminine power? What do they think about feminism? What do they think about gender equality? What are some of the issues we're facing? Talking around the water cooler, as they say in America. We do have water coolers in Australia. We just don't really talk about it in that way. I'd be more like what's happening in the staff kitchen, talk about it over a coffee. Oh gee, what was I saying? Yes, So be prepared to engage in these conversations and don't shy away from them. And you could probably explore how you feel about some of the things I've been talking about in the reading. So yes, and the power is with you. If you want to move forward on on your dream, something you're working on, a project, and if you really want to feel like the power of the sisterhood behind you, you have it this week. You really have it. So much of it. And the last card, which is from the Nature Spirit Oracle, which is the most beautiful deck, by Angela Hartfield. Okay, and it is Show Your Support. I really feel like this is the sisterhood card. Same thing, I don't want to leave fellows out. So, yes, it's about connecting with the feminine. If you're a male, connecting with your feminine side. Show your support. This card is about going out of your way, pardon me, to show your support for others. I think I keep putting my finger in the way there. Show your support for others. So getting out of your comfort zone, and this is about synchronicity because I just finished writing a post and sharing it in a Facebook group all about offering support and how I feel like I have my L plates on when it comes to offering support. You know, there are varying reasons why I'm challenged by this issue, and yet I understand that I'm growing and I want to make improvements in this area of my life. So therefore it's going to happen. And I can see the evidence of life showing up to help me to grow and change and improve in this area. So show your support. And remember, show your support for yourself too. What is it that you need this week? What is it that is going to make life a little bit easier for you? Perhaps it's like what I talked about in the beginning, um, restoring order and balance. Anyway, I've talked for like 30 minutes, which is not hard for me to do. If you've been watching these videos, you would know that. Anyway, I really love this card and I wish you so many blessings on your week. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell to get notified, and I wish you all the very best. See ya.